So there's a new term that's become pretty popular with the productivity bros. And no, it's not hustle or grind. The new word that's taking over is lock in. But what does it even mean, and more importantly, how do we actually lock in? First, lock in doesn't literally mean to lock yourself in a room, although that may help some people, because, let's be honest, most of us are more locked out than locked in. To be locked in is simply a repackaged term for the word focus. Over the years, we've seen many variations of this word: deep work, flow state, hyper-focus. But currently, the word of the season is lock in. And I'm sure by this time next year, we'll get a new trending word. But all these words come down to one thing: the ability to spend an extended period of time focusing on one task without getting distracted. But clearly, it's easier said than done. Otherwise, the productivity niche wouldn't be this popular on YouTube, and there wouldn't be countless apps trying to help you stay focused. So how do we actually lock in? Well, here are 3 steps based on my personal experience. We all have 24 hours in a day: 8 hours to sleep, 8 hours for work, 2 hours on life essentials, and another 2 hours on the miscellaneous tasks of life. So the question is, how are you spending the remaining 4 hours? For the vast majority of you, it will be scrolling through the infinite rabbit hole of social media. While using this time to consume content is not necessarily a bad thing, that all depends on the type of content you're consuming. You can either watch random conspiracy videos, which will add zero value to your life, or you can use this time to learn something new that will actually add some value to your life. So you've audited your time and decided to lock in on a particular topic. But consuming good quality content is just the beginning. Speaking of which, a sub to. Now, it's time to actually do the work and do it consistently, even when you don't feel like it. Motivation will get you started, but it won't last. If you truly want to lock in and stay consistent, then you need to start thinking in systems. But the problem is, we're hardwired to think in goals like, I want to get ripped, or I want to make $10,000 a month from an online business. But the real question is, how? This is where systems come in. If you have a system to get ripped, for example, meal prepping every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, then you're much more likely to get closer to your goal. Or, every weekday between 600 and 8 p.m., you'll work on your online business without any distractions. And should you miss a day, it's much easier to bounce back, as the system is already in place. This also aligns with the 2-day rule, the idea that you should never skip a habit for 2 days in a row, as the more days you miss, the harder it becomes to rebuild your momentum. So, thinking in systems is just another fancy way of saying having a plan. And if you've got a solid plan that you can stick with for long enough, the results will take care of themselves. Now, despite you consuming good content and implementing systems, there'll come a point where you'll feel like giving up. This will mostly be due to not seeing any immediate results. And in most cases, you may not see any meaningful results for a few months or even a few years. But this is where the pottery paradox can help. There's a popular story from the book Art and Fear where a ceramics teacher divides a pottery class into 2 groups. Group A is told they'll be graded on the number of pots they produce. The more pots, the higher the grade, regardless of how good they are. Group B is told they'll be graded based on the quality of a single pot, meaning they have to create one perfect pot. At the end of the semester, the teacher makes a surprising discovery. The highest quality pots came from the group that focused on quantity, simply because it was through producing more pots that they naturally got better at the craft. They experimented, failed, learned from their mistakes, and refined their technique with every pot. Meanwhile, the quality group spent too much time overthinking, theorizing, and trying to make one perfect pot without enough hands-on practice. So when it comes to locking in, don't wait for the perfect moment to get started or get discouraged when you produce your equivalent of a poor quality pot. Just start and show up on a daily basis, even if that means a shorter workout session or writing an unreadable first draft. Because it's only with enough time and repetition that the quantity will turn into quality. And once you've reached that stage, you'll become so good at your craft that it'll be pretty hard to ignore you. So don't let short-term distractions steal your long-term potential. And for that, stay locked in, and new doors will begin to open.